Right guys, so welcome to the British Book Worm. I'm doing a video vlog today on my hopefully two-day adventure trip. I've just got my bag ready for the last 2 days I've been preparing. Welcome to the British Book Worm. I'm obviously usually going to just do book reviews, but decided to expand upon the book review and do a bit of a nature vlog. So I'm hoping to go camping today. I've got a taxi on the way. I'm going to get a taxi to my location because I just can't be bothered walking with that on my back today. Used to walk with 30, 40, 50 kilograms on my back when I was a teen, and it was easy. Well, it wasn't easy, but I used to love it. So I'm going to go into the woods, set myself up, and hopefully do a bit of a vlog on the things that I'm going to do via studying the books. So my point today is to show you how much you can learn by reading books and how you can go out and practice what you've read in the books. I've got two of my favourite books in the bag to practice some of the skills in it over the next couple of days if I want to do that. However, I'm not setting off with the idea of being like, I'm doing 2 days. I'm going to go out, go today, see how I feel, set up my hammock and basically see how I feel, and then if I stay the night, tomorrow I'm going to practice some survival skills and do some bushcraft skills and see how it goes. So that's my introduction to the British Book Worm's first nature vlog. Let's go. So I couldn't have picked better weather for doing this first vlog, camping vlog. So I'm in a place called Barley, a beautiful place called Barley, and my sleeping bag has come off. My sleeping bag's come off annoyingly for some reason. So I'm gonna find my nearest wood that I like going in, and I'm just gonna basically use that for today because I'm not getting it saturated. I'm doing a lazy one today. I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get on with some bushcrafting. So I'm not gonna say exactly where I'm camping, but it's around here somewhere in one of these woods. And keep it private where I am. Very muddy underfoot today. It's very, very wet. So lighting a fire with some natural tinder is going to be fucking hard work. Excuse my language, but it's going to be hard work today. It's very hard work. It's really wet. All this drinking water though in these puddles for the bushcraft survival expert. But I'm hoping I'm going to find some bits of birch bark or something to start the first fire, bits of flame, and it's only if I decide to have a fire, because I'm not sure I'm having a fire today, because it means having to get loads of wood and tying up yourself in time wise, collecting enough wood for the night. So I'm not entirely sure about having a fire, but let's see. So one of the things that I've read a lot in a lot of books, and I've seen a lot of like special forces guys teach, is when you find a camping area, you walk around. Obviously this is if you've got time, you walk around the area methodically to try to locate the best place to pitch camp or hang the tarp, as they say, and locate it and decide, looking above. You follow the principle of the 5 W's. One of them is widow makers. So you find that these trees where I am are falling over regularly, so you want to find an area where there's no trees that are at risk of coming down, or branches, which these are thin branches with them being spruce, but you've got to be careful because apparently, I think it's safe to say, quite a few people die every year of branches or trees falling down on them when they're not expecting it. So I've gone into a really quiet wood, and it's, in all honesty, with this first survival bushcraft vlog and being lazy. You can see that tree, and a lot of these trees are doing this over here because the ground is so damp and the forests are not looked after around this area at all, so they come down quite regularly. The other wood I go to, the last time we were there was 5 big trees that had come down. So yeah, that's the key thing is you walk around where you pitch camps, or you put your rucksack down and you do enough, come back to your bag 50 meters, let's say, east, come back to your bag after walking in that easterly direction for say 50 meters, south 50 meters. Oh sorry, completely forgot this was one of my old camps that I built. I'm not going to use that tonight, but that was one of my shelters I built on another day, which I left. I know I shouldn't have left it up, but I intend to use it, so you know, over and over again. I recycled some crap that was left in the woods by who God knows who. It was a big theatre curtain left in the woods. Disgusting. Anyway, I'm looking round and I'm trying to work out where I'm going to hang my hammock. That's my basic plan, finding a place where I feel safe, because I'm not comfortable in the woods. Being honest with you, I've done quite a few camps in woods before, but I'm honestly not comfortable yet with it. Find it very intimidating at night, so I need to really push. See how these trees are basically, the only reason why they're not falling totally down is the other trees have stopped them, obviously. You'll be able to see that on cam. So this is only a small forest, and I could have gone across to the other one. Those who are really familiar to where I am will know exactly where I am, but apart from them, I'm going to keep it quiet where I am. So yeah, let's find a place to sleep. Let's pitch camp. Right guys, so obviously I'm not any expert at all, but I do know a lot from reading and doing a bit of camping. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm on my own, and I don't like being on my own. It's one of them things, I'm still not used to it, so I'm very inexperienced in that sense, just even though I've done it plenty of times really. So one of the things I'm going to show you is abiding by the 5W principle, and also a bit of other factors, which is basically I'm going to put a barrier around me where I'm sleeping, so not only am I hidden a bit better, but there's only one entrance point to where I'm actually going to sleep, so that gives me a lot more safety, security at night, because I know that the only place a person can come from it realistically without making lots of noise is from over there, and I'm also kind of hidden on all sides, so that's why I've picked this shelter area. So let's get the hammock up. We all love our gadgets, don't we, bushcrafters? We all love our gadgets. So I'm going to put all this here for firewood if I need it. Obviously, because it's been dead branches on a tree, it's going to burn better to get the fire going. And if I sound like Bear Grylls, it's because really I am ex-Special Forces and I just haven't told you yet. Right, so I'm getting there. I've set my tarp up, my hammock up. I've just tested it out. It felt reasonably alright. It's so important to get the length between the straps and the top correct, and I need the shelter up so that I'm going to be protected from the wind tonight and convection from the wind, and also the rain if it throws it down. So that's my next plan. I'm going to put the tarp up. So these strands take a bit of getting used to. Like I was saying, it's one of those things you've got to practice a few times to work out how to put these on. And in all honesty, I think I'm going to try to adjust it again because it's still a bit too banana-ish, and I don't like. Not a biggest fan of hammocks, to be quite honest with you. I'm still trying them out. Right guys, I've got my Bear Grylls torch on and I've got my tarp set up in a diamond formation. I didn't realise with this tarp that I couldn't do it rectangular ways, which I'm a bit annoyed about because that was my intention, but it's too short. Let me show you before I cut myself off. So today I've just struggled with that trucker's hitch. As many times as I've read a trucker's hitch, I've had to go on YouTube where I've got a bit of reception where I am and do it, but I'm going to have to practice that quite a few times. I might do it tomorrow, and then I've only managed to get it in the diamond shape. Today what I'm hoping is going to make a big difference is I'm going to have an underquilt on my shelter with my sleeping bag, because last time I didn't sleep at all because I was cold with the convection. The only problem I've got is the wind is kind of blowing through. Even though I tried to take account of the wind, it's kind of coming in and through a bit, so I may have to look at improvising a solution for that rather than just moving. Could move, I suppose. Could move my shelter, I suppose. Might even do that. Let me think about that before I do the next clip. Right, so I've got my underquilt on. I've got my underquilt on, which is the first time I've ever used this. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a much better sleep than my last hammock experience, and I'm going to put my sleeping bag in a minute. Now, a point on all this bushcraft survival shit, I've just wrapped this in a bin bag because it was just a quick, easy way to keep it waterproof if it really chucked it down. I want you to notice I've barely touched this bag and it's ripped. So any idea of using bin bags for survival, you've got to consider the thickness of the bag, because the average household bag isn't going to cut it, and you're going to end up with nothing. If you're trying to use that to build a shelter, you need thick ones, not thin ones like these, because they're crap. Right, so I'm not intending to have a fire, guys, but because it might get super cold, I'm going to get one ready in the middle of the night if I have to get one on. So I'm going to get all the wood ready just for like a small heating fire, warming fire, if it gets really miserable at night and that underquilt on my hammock doesn't work very well. So that's the plan. I'm going to make a bit of space, cover it with stone, put lots of stone, put a big stone circle or a typical tradish fire with a stone circle. Just clear some space, even though we're in a spruce wood, but it's really damp. It's going to take a lot of heat to start a fire in this kind of weather. But I'm going to only make a fire today if I really want to. Want to feel cozy, nice and cozy. Just because when you have a fire at night, it takes a lot of maintenance. It keeps you up at night. You don't really sleep very well, and it's hard work. So it's better to try and have warm sleeping bags and get comfortable, and not have to mess about getting in and out of the fire, having to collect all the wood before at night. Spruce wood burns so quickly. It's a nightmare to have enough wood at night. So let's have a look. Just gonna get this stone circle with some wood ready for it to go. Gonna use the local wood, dead wood lying around. I've put all my shit in a little backpack that I had my underquilt in to keep it dry. Underquilt's there. You can see it's getting windy. That's one of my concerns. I'm not too sure about this wind today. I hope that's going to die off. And also I need to have a sort out. When you're doing this kind of bushcraft shit, it's like everything else. you start getting a bit like lost on things. If you think you need to do something, do it, because you don't want to do it later. Another thing is, always do things right the first time, because it's so demotivating, have to do something again. But that comes from experience. I'm hoping this tarp's going to be alright. I hope I've done the right thing leaving it and not having to move angle for the night. Otherwise I'm going to be in for an uncomfortable night. But it's an experiment, living and learning, bushcraft with the British bookworm. So that's my initial fire lay setup. I'm just going to collect some very small matchstick size sticks, some finger size sticks and some slightly bigger sticks, just in case I decide to have a fire. So it's getting dark now, guys, and as I can see, you can see it's now going through my tarp, the wind, so I haven't set it up very well. So in theory I should just move it over, to be honest, to another angle. But I honestly, this is the problem with when you come out, whether you can be asked to do what you should be doing, which you should be asked. So I've got my torch, just double check that's working. I've got my setup for fire. I've found a little bit of a piece of metal for a fire deflector if I need it. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to put some, I've got a hexagon stove, I'm going to cook my ration pack on that and probably get into the sack and watch some internet if I've got reception. Otherwise I'm going to read my books and just let the dark sink over me. The scary spooky forest dark. Let's see what happens. I'm just getting some birch bark for a bit of fire starter if I need to start it up. Now, birch is amazing, it maintains its properties for firelighting for a long time, but obviously the less oil that's in it, the less likely you're gonna get it started. But if you've got a fire lighting method like a lighter, and you can get enough of this off a dead branch or a living tree even, then you're pretty much guaranteed, if you can get enough of it, to have a good fire. I was trying one of these ration packs that I have never used before, so that's something else I'm doing today on this adventure bushcraft video 1 with the British bookworm. I don't know, I have to go home and edit these videos when I get back, and I'm sure that's going to be possibly fun to put a video on and join YouTube's British bushcraft community. Maybe an ongoing thing I might do more regularly if I enjoy myself. I've got my bed ready, and one of the things I've done is not only have I set myself in a position where I have got like 3 sides covered because I want to feel secure when I go to sleep, but on the only entrance to me I've put dead branches between the trees, quite a lot as well, so that anyone coming has to step over them without making a noise, which is pretty much impossible at night without a torch. So that's something, if you camp all alone, is it going to work that way? It's going to camera. That's something that you may need to consider. Put dead branches down and see. Hopefully that's not going to mess my video up by going like that, because I know it can do on these cameras. So yeah guys, I'm going to eat this. It's not warmed up yet, but apparently it can be really good. So I'm going to eat this for the first time. I usually cook them. I've got a hexagon stove. I've got my fire lighting stuff ready just in case it gets cold at night. And I'm just going to chill down now. Let me turn this around. I'm just going to chill down now, chill out. I'm going to carry on stripping this birch bark off here and put it in my pocket. And I'm going to just try and settle once I've had this food, hopefully, if this works well. This ration pack, which I never used before, hopefully it does. And I'm just going to like enjoy the dark coming over and just get into the feel. I've been on my own in the woods. And hopefully it's been quite funny doing these videos, because I weren't going to bother, to be honest. So I'm wondering what kind of a video I can put together when I get back. But yeah, it's been fun so far. I just hope my hammock's going to be comfortable, because I've really Don't know about if you campers out there what your thoughts are, but I've not really experienced a positive night's sleep in a hammock as of yet. So I'm hoping that underquilt's going to make a big difference, and I've brought my best sleeping bag. So I am going to not light a fire like I said in one of the other clips, because I just basically want to not have to keep getting up. I'm going to get my book out and read some bushcraft skills in the hammock and try to get a really long night's sleep. I'm going to make a brew later as well, so I may put that in somewhere. This is just fun doing these videos. I can see why people do it. Anyway, see you later. So guys, I'm getting my Hexamin stove out, and I'm just going to try with this a few more times, but it's not worked, as I've just watched a YouTube video which I'll put on this video, and basically it doesn't seem to be working. It's starting to respond a bit. I've put a bit more water in, it's starting to boil a bit. So I want to try it because it's a really valuable thing to have in your rucksack, is a emergency meal. So yeah, I'm thinking basically try it a bit longer, and if it doesn't work I'm just going to crack on with boiling it in a Hexamin stove and in my mesh tin, because I'm getting hungry now and I want a brew before I get into my bed and try to just enjoy the dark night settling in. It's only 5 o'clock or something. Getting hit with my smoke. Just gonna give it a blow. Wow, smoky wet wood. Smoky wet wood. Decided to light a fire because it's getting a bit cold, and I just thought, sod it, I want some flames. But I mean, I'm going to get in my hammock shortly and just read and chill for the rest of the evening. So I nearly had an explosion. I've got in my hammock, snug as a bug. I completely forgot to put the bottle on to heat it up to make it like a water bottle with a lid on, and it's nearly blown up. It's nearly blown up. So you live and learn, guys. You live and learn. I'll start again. I'm gonna go back in my hammock and try and get cozy again, because that was scary. Not really. That was really annoying. I literally got as snug as possible in my hammock, really cozy, after spending like 10 minutes getting in my sleeping bag properly and moving around, and then I heard a screaming noise and I thought it was just the logs. Then I completely forgot that I've put a bottle on and not bloody undone the bottle. The bottle seal lid, the lid, unscrew the top to let the air pressure out, to have like a water bottle for the night, which is another tip, by the way. If you've got a metal water bottle, heat the water up in it and use it as a hot water bottle in your sleeping bag. But it disturbed me. I had to jump out in case it was going to blow up. So I am going to chill now, guys. I'm going to chill, like Wild Bear says. You might call it a night, like she says in her videos. So today's book, I'm going to read this for a bit. Got my light on. Again, going a bit like Wild Bear. I don't know, her YouTube channel. Very, very snug. I just hope that I'm not going to get too chilly when I let the fire drop off and watch some internet on my phone, which I shouldn't do. I know I shouldn't do that. But I am going to read one of the books, which is hence the British Book Worm. Remember, that's the channel that you're on. So I'm going to try and do some of these exercises tomorrow morning, but it's like 6 o'clock and it's pitch black, and I'm not using my torches to run around the dark and do camping stuff in the woods on a torchlight. So I'm just going to basically go to bed super early, and that's it really. So I hope you are enjoying the video so far. I don't know if you will, because I don't know how I'm going to edit it and put it together, but I know that I'm going to get a bit chilly because I can already feel it, and it's only 6 o'clock. I've got my quilt, I've got my hammock, I've got my tarp over my head, I've got all my clove layers on, and I'm in a decent sleeping bag. possibly going to have to buy a better sleeping bag. Also, I'm going to definitely buy a camping chair, because it makes such a big difference if you have a camping chair when you're in the woods. Even though you just get like a small one so you can sit on it a bit when you're doing the fire and doing the cooking and shit. I think a chair is totally underestimated. Anyway, it is my first video, so let's see how it goes when I edited it, put it together. For now, I'm signing out. Well guys, I'm going to try and go to sleep when this fire runs out. I'm going to have a piece of my chocolate cake that comes in with the ration pack that I bought. And I think I just have a bit of water and I'm going to try and get to sleep and try and drift in and out of sleep all night. I got in the sleeping bag, it's really cosy. But the convection, one thing to remember when you're going out in the woods, the convection of the wind is just crazy. You can feel the cold air drifting up through the top. So it's one thing to really try to limit, and make sure you get your shelter in the right angle. Eliminate that flame, those flames there. Smoke's getting to me. So yeah, that's something to think about. Set up with the wind, really make sure you get the wind right, or you get your shelter angled at the right way, because it can really have a bad impact. Hence, for the 5 W's, wind is one of the most important ones. Ooh, the flames are going. So I think I'm going to try yet again to go back to bed. Let these flames drift off as I drift off. Well guys, it's coming up to 22:01. I've been asleep within this rain, but bizarrely I've woken up with like a bit of a drip down my back. I'm thinking that's weird because there's no rain coming through. And then obviously, even though I'm fully aware of this is a possibility with how you set up your hammock, I've completely not registered it as a problem with the rain today. I just didn't think it would be that bad downpouring. So what the problem is the tarp hasn't gone over to left or right to either front, top or bottom ends enough. So what's happened is the rain is raining in and I'm getting wet, and my sleeping bag's actually getting wet. So it doesn't look like, excuse me, it doesn't look like I'm going to get any sleep, and it may even look like I'm going to have to abandon ship, because well, I just don't know, I don't fancy not getting any sleep, and it's looking like, very much like I'm not going to get any sleep whatsoever, when my main point for coming out was to get some sleep. So to say it's a bit disappointing is an understatement, because I weren't doing too bad. That's looking at myself on the camera. So that might be it guys, I don't know, I'm not sure what to do. A bit disappointed with this tarp, it's obviously nowhere near big enough to be decent for covering a hammock setup, even though it appears to be designed for a hammock. And then the water's coming in from the sides, like where the hammock is near the end, it's coming in and raining in basically. So let's see, I'm getting wet and I don't know quite whether to abandon ship or not. So I'll have to make a few decisions and see if I can maybe make a difference or something in a minute. So that's where I am now. Right guys, it's 1:30 in the morning. I've been rained out pretty much. I've tried to light a fire and I've got a fire going, which I'm really proud of myself, but my fucking sleeping bag's absolutely soaked through. So I'm not going to get any sleep, and I just don't see the point in me staying underneath here just for the sake of getting saturated for no reason. And all my firewood's bloody wet through. So I think I'm gonna just basically pack up and go home, to be honest. But what's the point of sitting in a hammock that's saturated? There isn't one, is there? So I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm going to start packing up and going home. What a bummer. Well, guys, that's not worked out too well. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm having to head back home. I got rained out. It was absolutely awful. My sleeping bag, it got saturated. So I've pretty much just decided to head home, which is not what I wanted to do, because it always feels like a bit like a failure. It feels a bit like a failure when you are doing this camping malarkey and you have to go home. I just wish I could get a taxi home, but I'm having to march home 4 miles back now. 2 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, it's pitch black. Very, very dark night, and I'm absolutely saturated. I woke up feeling water dripping down my back, and I just decided, no, this is silly. I'm going to head home, and that's what I'm doing now. So that's my first bushcraft vlog. A bit of a washout. Thanks for watching. This has been the British Bookworm. See you later. Right, guys, so I'm just putting this on as a summarisation of my bushcraft camping trip 001 for the Bushcraft Worm. Basically, I had a wonderful time, but I made a few mistakes, and I've said it in a video. I've not edited the videos yet to see if they're any good to put on, but I'm going to put it on just for the sake of it, for the experience of editing it and putting it on, what I can learn from it. So in every camping trip I've ever done, or bushcraft trip, whatever you want to call it, I've always learned, when you really reflect on each trip, you learn so much in that trip that it's bizarre. If you don't reflect on it, you don't realise how much you actually learn on every single trip, as long as you don't carry on making the same mistakes twice. So I did say in the video, or one of the clips, that reading is a massively powerful medium of information. And there are many skills and many things that you can learn and just basically do without any prior training. So you can do things like in the video where I talked about when you think you have a good place to pitch camp, you can then do north, east, south and west. You walk 25 or 50 meters north, walk back down to your rucksack or where you're going to pitch, walk east or even northeast if you want to be more thorough, walk back. It's just one method, but once you read that method, you're always aware of it. So you basically do a 360-degree walk round in lines from your rucksack. So you go like that, 50 meters or 25 meters in the wood, or wherever you are situated if you need to, unless you can just see. And then you can get like a sense of if there's water around, if there's beehives or wasp nests anywhere. You know, if there's anything you need to be concerned about in the vicinity of where you're camping. And it's skills like that you can read about and remember. Another one is when you camp and you're going to pitch camp, get your compass out, unless you've been using your compass to get there, and actually look around where's north and point yourself forward and find where the north point is in relation to where you are, north and south. And apparently the Indians used to set the wood up so that the wood, I think this is right, would point to the bearings of the east and west. I think that's right. So you can do things like that and read things like that. But I made a few mistakes that comes from not really not knowing, because I knew about it to a point, but I made a few mistakes. One of the things I was really proud about, I got rained out, and I had decided to make like a bit of an emergency fire, as I'd already planned to have. And I used char cloth, which I've only used once before, with birch bark, which was saturated, to get a really, really good flame going. So I got a fire going with a ferris rod using the char cloth. Now I was really proud of myself with that, and like I say, I've only done it once before, and I know I can understand why David Canterbury insists on, again, it's all this knowledge, insists on whenever you light a fire, and you manage to get your first fire mentality is always plan for your next fire and get char cloth set up and ready for your next fire. And I can understand how important char cloth is based on what I've read, and like the night we went camping. So that was really cool, and that felt really good, and I really had a good time. The underquilt made a massive difference. Now, what happened is I got rained out. I woke up and I could see I was getting wet, and I lied in the bed in the hammock, and I thought, well, I wasn't there to do a survival practice session. I wasn't there to do a survival trip. I wanted to have a really cosy, comfy night's sleep, wake up and do then loads of bushcraft bushcraft things from the books that I took. That was the original plan. So I lied there and thought, right, what can I do to save this camping trip? So I could have done a lean-to and put the underquilt underneath the lean-to to make like a bit of a mattress and slept on that. I thought about that, but it was so windy and it was so rain. It was absolutely lashing, like the Irish say, lashing it down. And so I thought, you know what, I made a mistake. I haven't done this as well as I could. And then I thought of my warm bed at home, getting home, cuddling the girlfriend, and I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to pack up. It's like 1:30. It was getting really bad. The rain was really bad. The tarp was excellent. But one of the things I wanted to admit to you is, even though I was aware of it, I accidentally set the tarp up so that I had the narrow ends from head to toe. So the sides, and I knew about this. This is what I'm saying about experience. I actually knew about this, that it was a mistake, but I wasn't aware of me making the mistake at the time. Now, having known this, if I'd have actually paid more attention to my situation, which is another lesson, but I paid more attention to my lesson and I just turned the tarp round, so the points that was pegged in were attached to the tree, I would have had more cover under the rain and I would have been able to stay the whole night. But the other factor to that, which I'm not sure about, is the sides were protecting me from the wind, which was really severe. So they had the long sides down pegged in, which were protecting me really well from the wind. But the rain was coming in through the hammock, which is obviously scooping up the rain. It's coming down the ropes into your hammock. And by the time I got the hammock down, it was saturated. Everything was saturated. One of my books was saturated. I've had to put that on the radiator. So in all, it was a really very, very good trip, and I learned tons from it. So yeah, set up your camp, do a 360-degree check around the vicinity so that you know there's no dangers, your widow makers, wood, wind. Pay more attention to the wind factor and all that. I didn't, as I said in the video, I should have changed the angle the tarp was set at. So I should have, they say that's the tarp, we should have moved the tarp and the hammock from that position to that position so that the wind wasn't hitting from the angle it was. But I know the underquilt worked massively. It was so much more cosy and comfortable rather than having loads of wind convection draining the heat from underneath the hammock. On a summer's day, yeah, no problem, and it's a nice warm summer, you're not going to have convection problems. But even with the quilt and even with the really nice sleeping bag and the tarp really kind of tight and narrow set up underneath or above the hammock, even with that, the beginning I could really feel the cold. You cannot underestimate how much heat cold convection takes away from you. The cold air was coming into the tarp and I could feel it. So in all, it was a really positive trip and one that I learned this much. I learned a lot from, and I'm really happy I did. So I hope that you find the video that I'm going to edit entertaining and interesting, and I'm going to put that on more for me as an experience of putting it on. But I am going to start doing a lot more camping trips and showing you the knowledge that I've got from books, and I'm practicing that knowledge in bushcraft videos, because I love bushcraft videos. I love those people that do the bushcraft videos in UK and in Canada and wherever I'm watching them from all over the world. I love these the bushcraft community, and so I think as a British bookworm I'm going to expand into the bushcraft a bit. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Give me a like, and if you want to subscribe, But bear in mind that this is a book review channel more, and the bushcraft videos are going to come in not that often because I just don't have time for it. And I'm gonna try go out on the weekends as much as possible, like once a month or something. I am gonna try that as a goal. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching it, and check out my other videos. You know, check out my other videos. Some of my book reviews are not that good. The first ones, I feel like I'm getting a bit better at these book reviews and this YouTube malarkey. But anyway, thanks for your time, and I'll see you later.